The opinions expressed in the following program are the sole responsibility of the host and its guests, and not the responsibility of the advertisers, Lee Family Broadcasting, or KBAR Radio. Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine. Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams. Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Our old friend, emphasis on old, Doug Martin sent this over to me, and really, it's the truth. You know you're getting old when you now go to bed at this time that you used to go out on the town. That hits me right between the eyes. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. And we look forward to having a patriot, a real live patriot. Bit my tongue again. Call in with the national anthem and also with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. No, you don't really have to sing the anthem, but it'd be a treat if you did. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and we thank you for tuning us in. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for whatever the winter weather throws at you. Don't forget all 7 locations serving you. And then, of course, also Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And also a big shout-out and thank you to Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's have our Pledge of Allegiance and go to the phone line. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jerry, my dear friend, God bless you, and thank you for calling in first and foremost with our pledge this morning. Thank you.
I would like to make one thing very plain and clear. I stand behind President Trump 199%. I do not stand behind those traitors that are funding the missiles that are hitting our air base, and that's the Democratic Party and that last worthless slob president, Obama.
I understand your comments, Jerry, and thank you again. We're going to talk about that extensively. Thank you very much. God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you. His feelings are almost a duplicate of my feelings this morning, and we're going to be talking about that extensively. Right now, we've got to go to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger. Roger and out over there at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Don't forget they offer the best of tools and equipment, the rental of the best long and short-term rental. They've got everything you need. Now, here's the point where you've got to say, well, I'm not sure what I need. Well, then call them, 678-3122. They can help. They will help you. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Right now, here's Gina with the weather. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
I thought it was loaded this morning, sir, but I'm going to talk to Gina and see what...
Well, you'd better take care of that right away, buddy. And it looks like we've got some stormy conditions coming in. And on my little sheet, it's showing some snow and cooler temperatures. And it looks like we might have snow going all the way through tomorrow. But I want to say that we're going to have that weather. I guarantee you we're going to have that weather in a few moments. Brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West west of Hayburn. And again, call Roger and the crew for any information you need on tools and equipment, 678-3122. Right now, caller, I'll be with you in just a moment. I've got to take care of some other business here real quick. I want to remind you also about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Absolutely, they get there early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And they've got literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. All you need to do is just give them a call or stop in. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And the number to call for information, 678-0459. Remember, almost 7 decades of service to you. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. This operation by Iran was nothing more than a save-face operation. Because if they wanted to, they could have hit the hospitals, the airfield, the barracks, and everything else. And here you have the Democrats out there trying to bring sainthood to this ceremony. This is going to be another pie in the face for the Democratic Party.
Well, I tell you what, Jerry Voss that just called in a few moments ago with our Pledge of Allegiance hit it right smack dab on the nose. I think Nancy Pelosi and this entourage of nincompoops that are running for the presidency on the Democratic ticket, all calling President Trump an assassin and blaming all this on him. I absolutely agree with you that they are traitors to their country. They've built up Soleimani. They've built up and almost created kind of a eulogy for this man, and also an appeasement for Iran. I think it's disgusting and despicable, and I'd like to use a lot stronger words this morning, Tony, but I can't.
So would I. Because Donald Trump is going to make the Democratic Party look like a pile of garbage. And they won't apologize for all that crap that they're pulling.
Well, I'm not going to hesitate on censoring, if you will, censoring any of my callers in regards to their thoughts about Pelosi and Schumer and Biden and Warren and the rest of these people. You know, there is a time, Tony, and you've lived through these times, where we need to, regardless of partisan politics, we need to draw together and say, America first. We're concerned about Americans. We're concerned about American military people. We're concerned about American assets. And we need to draw together and say to the enemy, get out of Dodge. And these Democrats have basically joined arms with the enemy.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, thank God for God that he put Donald Trump on the face of the earth. Because if it wasn't for him, this country would be on the verge of being taken over by many different countries in this world.
You do not make friends, underline the word friends, by being an appeaser. You do not make friends by handing them your lunch. You do not make friends by handing them pallets of billions of dollars. And it's about high time we had somebody in the White House that said, that's enough. If the bully wants to get his nose bloodied, they're ready.
That's right. Punch the bully in the face and get it over with.
You got it, buddy. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. Want to remind everybody, calls are welcome. You know, this is an issue this morning, and I'm very, very emphatic about this. Your opinions as American citizens is very, very important. I'm not going to chew you out if you have an attitude of, oh, well, let's not do anything. Oh, well, let's just sit there. Oh, well, let's just appease them. Oh, well, let's love them and maybe they'll change. Oh, well, let's all sing hands and or join hands and sing Kumbaya. But it's past that, folks. The bully is in the schoolyard, and he's hitting people, and he needs to be stopped. That bully is Iran. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and they truly are America's diner. That Christmas program we had over there on the 19th, after the program was over, I had a wonderful sausage and eggs breakfast. Oh, it was so good. You're going to love the breakfast, lunch, and dinner menu and all the desserts and the great people serving you at America's Diner. 2 locations in Magic Valley, 611 North Oberlin and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and, of course, 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It's good, really good, at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, I'll be right there. I also want to remind everybody about Ark Animal Hospital. If you've got pets, little kitty cats, puppy dogs, and dairy cattle, horses, whatever the case might be, you better familiarize yourself with Ark Animal Hospital. Things happen. Animals get sick. There are cuts and abrasions and things happen. Well, have this number right there where you can call them, 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177. They're located at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union, Ark Animal Hospital. And it's so true, so true. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Don't forget, they're there to help and serve you and your animals. Ark Animal Hospital. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. You know, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat this morning. I am so sick and tired of these people condemning Trump for what he's doing. He took out a monster. He took out an evil, evil monster. And I believe that those little wannabe thugs over there are going to get a real wake-up call because Trump does not play games.
Donna, have you ever sat back, and I know you and George are highly committed to serving our veterans and our military, but have you ever sat back and thought in the last 48 or so hours about the situation as it really is? Here's a country that probably at the very most has 80 million people. The country of Iran, 80 million people. And it is telling a country, us, the United States, of 380 million people, what to do, how to act, where to go, and what bus to take. And I'm a little more than fed up with this.
Oh, yeah. It's because of the past administration, bowing, kissing their hands, sending them $150 billion in the middle of the night, drawing red lines in the sand and letting them cross over, not doing a dadgum thing about it. Well, President Trump wasn't my first pick, but you know what? I'm glad he's there.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not going to put up with bullies. He's going to kick them in the you-know-what, and they're going to sit back and go, what the heck happened?
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know, and you don't know. Nobody knows what Donald Trump is going to do or say at this address to the nation that he's going to have roughly in about 40 minutes. And Deanne's going to be watching it and taking notes for me. Here's what I'll say, and you can disagree with me if you wish. If I were Donald Trump, to keep the left from being a howling, rabid pack of dogs and insert a lot of common sense, if I were Donald Trump, I'd say, okay, you hit those military bases, but you did not kill any American citizens. We want you to know that we're going to give you a tit for tat on this. We hit Soleimani, you did this, but we're going to wipe the slate clean as long as you come to the table and adhere to the sanctions, and adhere to the no nuclear missiles or weapons policy, and if you don't, we're going to blow the living hell out of you.
Well, that's what he could do. I agree with you. That's probably what he should do. But on the other hand, like your previous caller said, if they had wanted to, they could have wiped out those bases.
Yeah.
They're just trying to see if they can push his button into doing what he said he was going to do, was retaliate fast and furious.
I don't know, Donna. I've got another call waiting, but I just want to throw this at you. I'm not so sure that they, I know they missed, and I don't think they're that bad of shots, but I think it was just something, they're quaking in their boots over there. I'll use the analogy again. 360 million people in the United States and the best military in the world against a bunch of camel jockeys over in Iran with 65 or 70 million people, and they're going to punch the nose of the big cat. They're stupid and they're dumb, but they better wake up in a hurry.
Oh, I think you're totally right. They've been poking the bear for a long, long time, and I think the bear's going to come out of hibernation.
I hope he does. Thank you, Donna. God bless you and George. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Caller, I'll be with you in a moment. I want to remind everybody on Mondays, of course, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, boy, have they got a restaurant over there? I'm telling you, and a great bakery. I mean, all the cookies and the pies and the cakes and everything, and they make beautiful wedding cakes, too. You check it out. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Today at the Burley Senior Center, we're having birthday and anniversary dinner, which means we're having turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans and cranberry sauce, and we'll have some yummy dessert.
Well, it sounds to me like you've got it all figured out. I hope that you personally, Joe Taylor, have a very blessed and happy new year, and we look forward to hearing from you every morning, my dear friend.
Thank you, and all you do for us.
Okay, answer the phone, Joe. Answer the phone. All right, thank you. Joe Taylor with the Senior Center on Overland and Burley. He had a whole bunch of things going on there all at once. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, next Monday at 10:30, very important segment starts on this program. It's the Idaho Legislative Update. And it's going to be on at 10:30 every Monday through the legislative session and sponsored by Handy Truck Lines. I really want to give a great big shout out and thank you to Handy Truck Lines for being a part of it again. And that's going to be at 10:30 next Monday, starting the Idaho Legislative Update with Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and, of course, Representative Fred Wood. Don't you miss it. There was a Democratic strategist on the news about 30 minutes ago, and it was almost laughable, when she said any one of the Democrats running for the presidency could and would do a better job than Trump is regarding our military policies and all other issues. Really? Really? You know, you got to ask yourself, how dumb do these people think the American public is? You know, to say that a Joe Biden, that when the Obama administration was thinking about the big hit on Osama bin Laden, oh, well, I think you better think twice about that, Mr. President. This guy is as wishy-washy as it gets. And here's another thing about Joe Biden. And did any of you pick up on this yesterday? In his dissertation of talking about the missiles from Iran flying into and hitting the bases in Iraq, he didn't know Khmer from Sikkim. He got so mixed up as to, well, they came out of Iraq. No, they came out of Iraq. Well, they sort of sent from Iran over to Iraq. He just kept babbling. Joe is not presidential material. Actually, I think we should all get together, chip in, maybe 50 cents to $1, everybody, buy him a nice rocking chair and send him to the back porch. But then you have the likes of other people that just absolutely, I consider to be traitors to this country. Elizabeth Warren, the media, and others calling Trump an assassin. And almost like I said a few moments ago, eulogizing the death of a terrorist killer, vermin, that's rotting in hell right now, and that's Soleimani. What are your thoughts about all this? please give me a call, 436. This is something you need to speak out on, because one never knows what area of this country they, the bad guys, now basically Iran, and their cells that are around this country of the United States, where they're going to stand and rear their ugly heads. Calls welcome, please. And while you're waiting, I'm waiting for that phone call, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location. You know, they've got all the big dudes that can get the job done, whether it's the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying, the leveling, and the grading. I'm telling you, they got the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators and the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got great financing programs and excellent lease programs. You better check it out today. Berry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Berry Equipment and Rental. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hopefully, and I mean this, hopefully through all the trying to search through the rubble and find out exactly what was damaged, what was hit, who was hit, if anyone. I hope there will not be any American soldiers that were injured and or killed in those two missile attacks. They sent over about 15 to 17 missiles, and again, some misfired. Some came close to the target. Some did not. And I certainly stand behind what I'm about to say. If any American citizen was hurt or killed in that attack, unleash the dogs, Mr. Trump, and let them go. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I hate to call back in again and disrupt your airways, but you were talking about this strategist that was talking about our democracy. The dang guy's an idiot. We're not a democracy. We're a representative republic. And any station that would run somebody that was dumb enough to get up and talk about our country and call himself our country a Democrat, our democracy, has to be a complete idiot station.
Well, I agree with you. And Jerry,
they're just spouting propaganda.
Yeah, Jerry, let me interrupt you for a second.
Speaker, he's part of the responsibility of Obama getting elected. And look at all the soldiers that have lost legs and arms and been maimed. It's almost as bad as the babies that's been mutilated by their policy of abortion. It's just sick, horrible people.
I agree with you.
No right to be speaking at all.
Jerry, first and foremost, let me jump in here on you. I totally agree, and I'm thankful for you bringing up that everybody keeps spewing that one word, we're a democracy. No, we're a republic. And I find many, many politicians on both sides of the aisle, not just one, that are uneducated when they speak like that. But this was a woman this morning, a Democratic strategist, that basically was spouting off about how all the Democrats, from Buttigieg right on down the line, are higher qualified to be president and more knowledgeable about military actions and other issues. I mean, that was insanity that was being spewed out this morning by this woman strategist. And if it would have been at any other time when we weren't facing a bully in the Middle East, it would have been totally laughable.
Well, to me, it's sick. And people that talk like this are sick people. They do not really have a right to be speaking. I know we let a lot of people speak on the air that should not be speaking because they're just idiots. And it's too bad. I'll get out of the way and let somebody get on there that's got something important to say that isn't so mean. I'm in a mean mood today.
No, don't ever apologize for that. You're a straight shooter, and I appreciate it. You and Matt Dillon are going to clean out Dodge City. Thank you very much, Jerry.
You bet. You have a wonderful
All right. God bless you, man.
Bless you and your whole audience.
Thank you so much. You know, basically, I don't know if you realize this or not, folks, but there was a lot, and I underline the word a lot, happening in Iran yesterday. Over and above their stupid missile discharge into Iraq. I don't know if you're aware of it, but in a 24-hour span, they unleashed the missiles to hit Iraq and those air bases, but at the same time, in that 24-hour period, a Ukrainian jet had crashed on its way to the Tehran airport, and it killed, very unfortunately, all 175 people on board. And then, right after that plane crash, there were severe earthquakes in certain portions of Iran, many of which they estimate are fairly close to where their nuclear facilities are. So here's a country trying to play bully to the world, and they're probably going to get a bloody nose over what they have done to these air bases. They had a severe and horrendous plane crash happen in and near the Tehran airport, and then these earthquakes. Maybe God is trying to tell these people something. I hope they're listening. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you quickly, and then I want some more calls. Come on, folks, don't let me down. You've always been a great audience on all the issues. This is possibly one of the most important issues to respond to and talk about. I want to remind you, too, about the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce annual installation banquet. That's a mouthful. It's going to be on January 30th, coming up in a matter of weeks at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Doors are going to open at 6 p.m., and the evening's going to be a lot of fun with dinner and auction, installation of board of directors, honoring outstanding individuals in the area. I'm telling you, 4 tickets, and you better take care of it. Call the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce at 208-679-4973. Do that today, and that event coming up again on January 30th. Don't you miss it. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The Democrats are so worried about losing this next election and are scared like little kids. They're shaking in their boots that Trump is going to be reelected, that they will try and they will do and they will say anything to muddy up the water. And I thought it was so, it was, like I said, laughable if it wasn't for this situation currently with Iran. That now they're trying to introduce various bills of power that would limit Donald Trump's power as the president with the War Powers Act. And basically what they're trying to do is say, Donald Trump, you can't do anything or say anything about what you're going to do without coming through us first. Well, that's not the way it works. The president has some very distinct powers. And Congress, especially the House of Representatives, has overstepped their bounds and overexceeded their powers. I'm 72 years old. I'm an old man. But I've never heard of the Speaker of the House in any previous situations telling the Senate what to do. It doesn't work that way. But with Pelosi and her mob, they're trying to. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Doug had to go, but hopefully he'll call back in, sir.
Well, I only was on an extra 15 seconds. Give me a break. All right, thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And what really also is kind of interesting about this morning, check this out, is that everybody was ready to jump off a cliff and say, oh, if we go to more war with Iran or if we have any retribution, why the stock market and everything is going to crumble and our economy is going to fall apart. This morning, the markets opened up stronger. And the oil markets, you would have thought with Iran and the Straits of Hormuz and everything else, oh my goodness, you would have thought, wow, oil's shooting up through the ceiling. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's remaining very consistent. What does that tell you? Well, first of all, it tells you that if the market is somewhat relaxed and comfortable, then they must have a feeling that Donald Trump and this administration are going to take and handle this situation with Iran so that it doesn't become a boots-on-the-ground, full-blown war. Look at the markets when you have a problem. And when they start jumping off a high dive into a pool that doesn't have any water, then it's time to get scared. Later on this morning, we're going to be having a woman by the name of Krista Huff on our program. And she is probably one of the very few people I know and have talked to that can really, in simple layman's terminology, tell you what's going on with the markets, what really is happening. And I'm looking forward to her getting on and explaining some of this. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Are you afraid of this conflict with Iran? Are you afraid that if we punch them back in the nose and let them know in no uncertain terms, that's it, never again, don't do this? Are you afraid that it's going to turn into a boots-on-the-ground war? I don't think so. I could be awfully wrong, but I don't think so. And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got a quick little public service announcement I need to make here, and I need to get this on, so give me a call quickly. The Minnetonka Veterans of Foreign Wars will be sponsoring a fundraising breakfast on January 18th from 8 to noon. The menu includes, oh, this sounds so good, pancakes and eggs and bacon and sausage, assorted drinks, all you can eat, my goodness, for $10 for adults, $25 for family of 4. And people under 3 and over 80 eat free. Ho, ho, there you go. All the proceeds go to help our vets. Please call Clark Dixon for any questions at 650-9652. There you go. Thank you very much. All right, your turn. Calls welcome, 436. Don't weaken on me. I noticed that through all this hubbub last night on the networks, there was something that was really interesting going on behind the scenes with Fox News. I don't know if you heard about this, but on Hannity last night, our dear friend, mustachioed, and a person that I just love to hate, Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo Rivera was canceled from being on Hannity last night. Basically, what happened was Geraldo had made a bunch of statements prior to the program. He had already been booked, and he was scheduled to be on Hannity last evening. And he made a bunch of statements of, appeasement, let's not ruffle their feathers, let's be nice people, and maybe they'll be nice and all this stuff, to which Geraldo Rivera can do sometimes. And the Hannity people heard about his remarks prior to going on the program, and Hannity had a program last night to where no more baloney, and I cleaned up that word, no more baloney. The United States needs to right now take advantage of this situation and let Iran and other countries know that there is not going to be any more of this pushing us or anybody else around. And so the Hannity people, from Hannity himself, just prior to going on the air, told Geraldo, don't bother coming on the TV show. I thought that was kind of neat. Geraldo got the gate last night, and we'll see. We will see over the next couple of weeks if they come back and invite him back on the show. But he was persona non grata last night on Hannity. And then there was this idiocy from MSNBC. I did not see this, but I got this report from a good friend that sends us all of the special stories that probably will not make the news on the various networks. But this is from Peter Zahn with the Daily Caller, that MSNBC had come out with a report and used baseless Iranian propaganda and put it on their network, stating that over 30 United States American military members had died in the missile attacks. And they put that on the air with no verification. And you talk about falling right into what the enemy wants to put out as far as propaganda. Well, MSNBC did it on behalf of Chris Matthews. And there's a guy that you just love to hate, almost like Geraldo. And I could not believe that MSNBC aired the Iranian claims about U.S. casualties, but CNN at the same time cited a United States official in reporting that there were 0 known American casualties at that respective time. So one network is going out and saying, oh, it was horrendous. Trump got us into a terrible war, and all these military people with the American flag, they died. Well, it wasn't true. It wasn't true. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's do the weather forecast, and we'll get it on a couple of minutes early here this morning because I'm expecting we'll probably have some more phone calls in just a moment. Don't forget that the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. Number to call for a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Make an appointment today and let them serve you and your hearing health at Mount Harrison Audiology. Right now, let's have the weather.
Looks like some snow is in the forecast as we make our way through the rest of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Slight chance of snow off and on throughout today. Mostly cloudy skies. It is going to be breezy as well. Expecting a high of 26 for tonight. 70% chance of snow likely. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. Wind is still going to be a consistent gust as high as 21 miles an hour. And we are expecting a low of about 31. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow in the morning. Mostly cloudy by the afternoon. High of 33. And then as we make our way towards Friday, partly sunny, high of 28, and Saturday, 60% chance of snow showers, accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible, expecting a high of 34. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebra.
Oh, my goodness. It sounds like winter over the next couple of days. And, of course, the weather brought to you this hour by our dear friends that really, really know all about your hearing and hearing treatment to make sure that you can have a better, happier life. Absolutely. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. 312-0957. Call them for a hearing screening today. You'll be glad you did. Tell them old Zeb sent you. Nice people. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney's daughter, that is now one of the Republican representatives from Wyoming, absolutely came out and blasted. I mean, opened up the chute and blasted Nancy Pelosi. And here's Nancy Pelosi, so concerned about our nation's security, so concerned about impeachment, so concerned about doing the right thing and getting it done on an ASAP basis, and then sitting back after the House hearings and holding the impeachment papers, and so concerned about Donald Trump being an assassin. So concerned about Donald Trump leading us into war that while she was so concerned last night, Tuesday night, She went to a great big fancy dinner party and had to be alerted during the dinner party as to the status of the missile attack, etc. She said that she had been closely, listen to this, closely monitoring the situation. Between tipping her glass of wine. And Liz Cheney came right out, and I love this. She said, Speaker Nancy Pelosi is an embarrassment and unfit for office. Amen. Closely monitoring the situation following bombings targeting United States troops in Iraq. We must ensure the safety of our service members. This is Nancy speaking, including ending needless provocations from the administration. She came right out blatantly last night, Nancy Pelosi, and pointed the finger at Donald Trump and this administration for being the provocateur of this action by Iran. All the people are pointing their fingers at Donald Trump. All the people are condemning this administration that are on the left, the Democrats. And I totally agree with Liz Cheney that Speaker Nancy Pelosi is an embarrassment and unfit for office. What are your thoughts? Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. All of a sudden, what'd you do? Wheels turn off the telephone over there? What's going on?
You know, to be honest, sir, I've been watching it like a hawk, and to be honest, I'm just hoping they'll call it.
Well, we had that one call, and evidently they had to run for a few minutes, but calls are welcome. You know, you get a serious subject like this, and I can't think of a more serious subject than talking about the world and possibly a war and our involvement in a war, and I think people need to speak out and let their opinions and points be made, and so therefore I look forward to hearing from you. So just give us a call, please, at 436-2244. Right on the money. Thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
Sorry about a little earlier. I just dialed and it rang once and a customer come in. So.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
That's all right. What are your thoughts about everything that we've laid out here this morning?
Well, I think President Trump hit the Iranians right in the mouth and knocked a couple teeth down their throat, and they're trying to figure out how to save face so that they can show they're still strong in that region, but I think they're scared.
I agree. You know, and I'll use this quickly, and we've got calls now lined up, and I appreciate that. Doug, why are we, the United States, and being kind of led by the nose by the Democratic Party, in thinking that we have to be an appeaser to Iran? There's a country of less than 80 million people telling a country of 360 million what to do. There's something wrong with this picture.
Well, to answer that question with a question, why are the Democrats for all the illegal aliens? Why are they for all the Syrian refugees to bring them here? Why are they for everybody in the world except for the American citizen?
Amen. And I would like to, you mentioned something I'd like to pursue. The city of Twin Falls just recently met with their illustrious city council, and they said, we want to welcome a whole bunch more refugees into this area. Why, everybody wants them here. I have yet, Doug Martin, to find one person, and I've talked to business people in Twin Falls, I've talked to farmers and ranchers around the area. I have not had one person tell me that they want more refugees brought into this area.
I haven't either. And my answer to their deal is that they want more in here. Follow the money. Who is getting the money to bring the refugees here?
Oh, gee, wouldn't we like to find out?
And I'd like to ask Mr. Little why he's saying that Idaho will accept more refugees.
Yeah, I think, there's nothing wrong with having Brad on the program, and I'm going to ask him about this. I'm going to ask him about certain situations that are going on at Boise State University. I'm going to ask him a lot of questions, and quite frankly, I don't owe Brad Little anything. I mean, if anything, he owes me the decency of coming on the program and answering the questions. I've always been a friend to him, and while he was the lieutenant governor under Butch, but I'm going to have him on the program and ask these questions because I think there's a lot of things that the general public needs to know and hear right straight from the governor.
Well, he owes all of us, every person in the state of Idaho. He owes us all because we pay his wages.
Yep.
We're his employer. He needs to answer to us.
And we're going to be getting him on. I think we're trying for, I don't have my sheet here, but I think it's either next week or the week of the 23rd. I've got to check that, Doug. But give us your senior spiel, and we will fly to the next caller. God bless you, man. I appreciate it.
All righty, everybody. I know the season of giving's over, but you can give year-round. We need to take care of these seniors who fought for this country and made this country what it is. It's our time to step up and help take care of them.
Well stated, my dear friend. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, you're on the line. Go ahead, please.
Good morning again, Zeb. You know, you've kind of switched the subject there, but you asked us what we thought of Nancy Pelosi. I think she's a disgrace to the name of representative. And I'd hate to be one of the people that's called a representative of this country just because of how horrible a representative she is. She's just blackened the name of all of our representatives in this country. It's just horrible what a person can do when they want to destroy. And that's all she does is destroy. She wastes money in her flights across the country and all the booze she takes and drinks and has on the plane. She's been nothing but a drain on our economy. And they talk about conserving energy, and, you know, with ridiculous things like these murder machines out by your place or the windmills, whatever you want to call them, that'll never show a penny of profit. All they are is an expensive breakdown toy that we're paying for out of our pockets that adds expense to us. And the same thing on this refugee program. We pay for them guys to be here because we furnish their houses, their food, and everything else. Most of them don't work. Most of them are a drain on our economy and a disaster for us. And I have no understanding as to why we even have to put up with it.
I think that you've stated very emphatically, and I think fairly, some of the problems that are coming in with these refugees into this area or any area, and I concur with what you said. And the tie-in of Nancy Pelosi and the refugees, all of this story goes right along with what's going on in the Middle East today. So I really didn't change subjects. I just elaborated and spread it out a little bit. But I appreciate your call, Jerry. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Well, I tried to emphasize it a little more. I wished I could be positive. But, you know, it's just hard when you see so much wrong and so many people swallowing the baloney that goes along with it.
I could not agree more. Very well stated. Jerry, thank you. And again, I appreciate your call anytime. Thank you.
May the Lord bless you and your whole audience again. I'll keep blessing you as long as I live.
I need it, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Got time for another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I just knocked over all those papers. Want to remind you that they've got all the tires for whatever the weather throws at you, and it looks like we're going to have a lot of things thrown at us over the next next couple of days. Snow and ice and muck and yuck. All the weather conditions they've got, all the different tires with the tread designs, all the sizes. They've got all you need for safe wintertime driving, including the tire chains, I'm telling you, and the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. Oh, let's talk batteries, because we've got some colder temperatures coming in, and you want to make sure when you turn that key it doesn't go click, 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 click. Make sure you've got a good battery. Stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my friend Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. You be sure and stop in and see them today. And then to top it off, we have the left, led by quite a few of these radical representatives, AOC and Rashida Tlaib and others that are, they're so brokenhearted and so worried that we're checking more on the influx of Iranians coming into the United States. We're checking to really see if they're qualified. We're checking to really see about their backgrounds. Why shouldn't we? Their home country is absolutely making the threats against us in our military and our safety, but yet these Democrats, we don't want to single them out. I do. Caller, quickly, I've got a minute. Go ahead.
You bet. And there's one more thing I think President Trump needs to let the Iranians know, that we know who all of your proxies are. And if any one of your proxies attack an American, we are coming after you.
Amen. And it won't be just to give you a credit card or a invite to dinner.
No. I like what General Oliver North said the other night. He said, take out their oil fields and take out the area where they launch these missiles.
Yep. I can't argue that at all. I've got time for one more quick call. Doug, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Caller, real quick, 30 seconds. Go fast. Caller? Evidently, they didn't make it. We've got to take a break for the news right now from CBS and listen to what's going on. Possibly they already have some remarks that have been made by our president in regards to Iran. We'll take a listen and be back in 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, thank you, Wheels. And right now, let's go into hour number 2. Zeb at the ranch with some really unsettled conditions outside, about 34 degrees and a lot of wind sometimes, a lot of snow sometimes. And what we're going to get next, I don't have any idea. Hey, Zeb at the ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for whatever the weather throws at you. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, don't forget Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living a good life with friends. And right now, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand. Always at Georgia struggle.
Western Waste Services committed to helping all of us in the community, and especially right now, they are saying, let's trash cancer. Absolutely. You can enroll in the Pink Heart Cancer Program. In other words, Power in Pink. Here's what you do. You call 734-6969 and ask them if you can have maybe change from your original black cart that they put out there with the garbage to a Power in Pink cart, and really help the proceeds go to helping fight breast cancer. And this is a wonderful program. As the days go by, we're going to be telling you more about this, but we salute and say thank you to Western Waste Services, 734-6969, in their effort to trash cancer. Very well done. Also want to acknowledge the fact that our dear friends at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce are going to have a big day on January 30th. It's the annual installation banquet at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Doors are going to open at 6 o'clock that night, and it includes an evening of dinner and auction, installation of the board of directors, honoring outstanding individuals, etc. from this area. Oh my, what fun. We're going to be there. I hope you are too. And the number to call for tickets at the Chamber, 679-4973. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, quickly I want to say also our thanks to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. The commitment to excellence over there in serving people is outstanding. I mean, Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists are really, really good and knowledgeable of what they do to help you get back to being you, with all the exercises, the use of the hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area, all of this and more. So please call, make an appointment at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, I'm going to start off the next segment by saying, happy birthday to Barb. Happy birthday to Barb. Here's Dave Bego. His wife's birthday's today.
Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate you doing that. She's having a happy birthday, but we're having troubles here at our corporate office. Our internet's down and our phone system's down. It's just crazy this morning.
Well, I'm going to ask Wheels if you can really bump up Mr. Bego in my ears so I can hear him. I know he's calling on a cell phone. Dave, I want to get right to the situation at hand this morning. It's not one for any levity. It's very serious. What are your thoughts as a businessman and an American citizen that really loves this country? What are your thoughts about what's happening right now as we speak in the Middle East and especially Iran?
Well, a lot of people think the president didn't do the right thing, but I think he did. We've got to stop these people, and, you have to stand up to them and have a backbone. And a lot of people on the Democratic side don't have that backbone, but he stood up to them, and I'm not surprised that they, launched rockets at a couple of places in Iraq trying to hit our people. And I want to understand there hasn't been any casualties or any problems, but I think we're going to have to really go after Iran and, just put them in a position where they just have to stand down and do what we want them to do. And because if not, they're going to continue, they're controlled by people that want to take down this world. And they're just not good people, and we got to stop it. And I think even the citizens of Iran would like to see us do it.
Absolutely. You mentioned in that last little dissertation something I want to highlight. You said a lot of the Democrats and people in this country don't think that Donald Trump did the right thing. Well, let me ask these people, if there are any in the audience right now listening, what was wrong with what Donald Trump did as opposed to what President Obama did in the SEAL Team 6 going after bin Laden? The whole American society just praised Obama and said, thank you. But now Donald Trump gets rid of the number 2 man that has been a known killer of thousands of people, Soleimani, and he's been denigrated to being lower than pond scum. And this is so disgusting.
It is, Zeb. And, Obama, he not only worked out a deal with Iran, a supposedly nuclear deal, which he really never followed up on, but he gave them, billions of dollars too. And it's crazy what the Obama administration did and got away with. But behind the scenes, and I've talked to you about this before, the far left and the unions and Soros and those, they supported what Obama was doing, and they put this out and they made the media support him. And now when things are being done the right way, the left doesn't want to acknowledge it.
There's a point you made there, too, that I think I'd like you to elaborate on, is the money that Obama's administration sent over there on pallets in a private jet in the late hours of the evening, totaling billions of dollars. And I would submit to you, my dear friend, that possibly many of that billions of dollars went to build the missiles and fund the missiles that just hit our air bases.
Well, I agree with you. And, people got to realize that President Obama's background, ancestry, it comes from the Middle East and these people over there. So, when you step back and think about it a little bit, common sense tells you that he was supporting the people that where he came from, or his family came from, and instead of this country.
Yeah. Dave, let me ask you, when you heard that there was a missile attack between 15 and 17 missiles that flew into 2 air bases in Iraq, and really the aim was not that good, some fell way off to the wayside, some didn't do hardly any damage at all, did you think, like I did perhaps, that maybe Iran was just saying, well, we'll show our people that we're retaliating, but basically I think it was a show of fear. They missed on purpose because they didn't want to get their toes stepped on. What are your thoughts quickly, and then we'll take a call?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both the things you said, and it's these Iran leaders, behind the scenes, Hezbollah and ISIS and all this kind of stuff. They're trying to take over the Middle East and this world if they can, and they lie out of both sides of their mouth all the time.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a comment. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air, please.
Well, during the Obama administration, the connections to Iran, John Brennan is a Muslim. He converted to Islam. His wife is a Muslim. Lisa Page's mother is from Iran. Peter Strzok knows Persian. He knows he's totally, his history is all about Iran. Valerie Jarrett was the right-hand woman to Obama. She was born in Iran. The connections are unbelievable. He is totally sympathetic towards the Iranian people. I mean, the government, the Ayatollahs. It's unbelievable if you study this. Thank you.
Oh, that's a very, very astute point or group of points that you brought up, Randy, and I appreciate that. Dave, respond to the caller, please.
No, Randy, you're spot on, and I'm glad that you went down the list. I wasn't going to do that, but I'm glad you did, because that tells you exactly what Obama was all about and what his goals really were. It wasn't for the United States of America. It was for Iran. Great job, Randy.
Yeah, it was a great job, and I'm glad he had all of his facts and figures put together. Dave, when you hear, I'm just going to be very blunt, idiocy from the left, the Democrats. One of their Democratic strategists was on television early this morning and made the comment that any of the Democrats running for the presidency right now on the Democratic ticket could handle and do a better job than Donald Trump is with the military, the economy, and all other issues. And I got to call foul ball on that one, because I don't think there's one Democrat, not one, that could absolutely even fill the shoes of what this man has done or what he's doing currently.
Well, I agree with you 100%, and they would, any of these people running for the Democratic nomination for president would put our country in decline in handling these threats, and I think the American people need to wake up and understand that, of course they keep saying, well, Trump's trying to put us in another world war, and we're not the ones that start world wars, and he's not starting a world war. It's these people over there in the Middle East that are trying to start a world war.
Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot here with a kind of a discussion of speculation, if you would. I've thought about this. If I were sitting in the Oval Office, I'd like to put this conjecture over to your side of the table. And if you're sitting in the Oval Office, would you at this point say, okay, it's tit for tat. You came back at us after we killed Soleimani. We will now call it a fair, square ball game. And if you do anything in the future that is going to possibly endanger any Americans or any of our facilities, we're going to blow you off the map. What would you do? Would you hit them again, or would you sit down and negotiate with an iron fist that says, it's over, dude, one more misstep and we're going to get you?
Well, I think it depends on how they respond, but, if you can sit down first and negotiate with them and put them on the line and keep them there, that's fine. But if they're not going to listen to you, then we have to do what we need to do to protect America and our citizens and even our allies in the Middle East. And we have to do that and protect the world. And you always like to try and give even the bad guys a chance. And as I tell people all the time, keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer.
Absolutely. When you look at this, and I don't mean to sound cold and calloused against the Iranian people, because I think the Iranian people would absolutely love to see at 3 o'clock this afternoon a complete regime change over in their country. They despise the leadership right now. But what has Iran got to offer? It's only oil. Only oil. And now, with us taking over the lion's share of our own production, Iran is not a very needed commodity. If I were them and their leaders, I would sit down, shut up, and raise my hand to go to the library or the bathroom, and I wouldn't cause any trouble.
Yeah, Iran has put themselves in a precarious position that, and Trump is basically put him in that position and taken away what Obama gave to him and everything. And the Iranian people, and I said it earlier in the conversation, the majority of the Iranian people and citizens, they want this stuff to stop. They want to see these leaders in Iran go, and they want to get back to a country that does the right thing. And I hope that happens for them. I really do.
What do you think is going to be the effect, if you will, of what's currently going on with the so-called impeachment, even though Pelosi is kind of like a mother hen sitting on the eggs, the papers of impeachment, and the effect of what Iran is causing on the world to hurt or possibly even help Donald Trump for 2020? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the impeachment thing is going to go away. I think the Senate's going to come together and throw it out, and we'll move forward, because the Democrats, the whole thing they put together is wrong and crazy. But it's all based on the 2020 election. They are just trying to do it because they want to get Trump out of office and get one of the Democratic nominees in the office, and that's what this is all about. It's not about Trump doing the wrong thing.
What did you think when you heard some of the verbiage that was coming from the lips of these Democratic candidates, that they were so easy to use the words against Trump, like calling him an assassin and denigrating him, and then in the same breath almost eulogizing and giving praise to this Iranian general, Soleimani? It was... I couldn't believe it was the closest thing to being a traitor I've ever heard.
Well, you got to understand something, Zeb, is the Democrats lie, and they lie again, and they lie again, and they keep going back to their other lies, and they're hypocrites. They keep using all this stuff all the time in their political moves, and unfortunately, the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party, and many, many years ago, they're being controlled and by the far left, and of course the media is too, and so they support the Democrats. And but the American people, I believe, are waking up. They're seeing through all this mess and this hypocrisy, and they're standing up. And we need to do that, because if we get to where the left wants to be, and be a socialist communist country without God in it, we're in trouble.
Let me ask you one final point here this morning, and I'm sure you probably heard some of these news clips, but it was almost embarrassing, as it has been many times previous with Joe Biden, as he was asked questions, and then he's standing up there with a microphone talking to very small throngs of people. He got Iraq and Iran all mixed up, and he couldn't keep his facts straight. I'm going to be very blunt and say it's time to look for the rocking chair, Joe. Go sit on the back porch and listen to the magpies. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you 100%. I don't know if I've told you this story before, but I was down in Florida playing golf with a friend on his golf course, and we came up on this certain hole, and all down on the left-hand side was a bunch of condominium units, and about 3 or 4 stories high, and we hit our drives off the tee box and went out to the middle of the fairway, and he says, Dave, I want to tell you something. See these condos over here to the left? Right at the very end, the top one on the left end down there, he says, that's Joe Biden's. And he says, Joe Biden's a member here, and he says he doesn't know anything. He doesn't understand anything. He doesn't deserve what he's done. He dropped a bunch of golf balls on the fairway. He says, you want to hit some balls at his condo? But it was interesting that this guy brought out the fact that Joe Biden is not enough smart enough person to continue moving up in our political atmosphere.
Yeah, but Iowa's just a mere few days away with the Iowa caucus, and Biden still has the lead in the polling, and then you're looking at the likes of your Indiana Mayor Buttigieg, the man that I absolutely thoroughly, he's disgusting to me, and Warren, and then Bernie, the socialist, etc. What kind of a garbage can is going to be representing the Democratic Party?
Well, all these candidates we're seeing are people that the left can control, and that's what it's all about, control, is that they just want to get one of them elected so they control the White House in this country and where we move in the future.
I absolutely agree with you, and I've kind of hoarded the time here this morning without asking you, did you have any particular subjects that you wanted to talk about quickly this morning?
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. I appreciate it. Like I say, we're struggling here at our corporate office this morning because the internet is down all across the county out here, and so we can't get any information. Our people can't get on their computer systems and work, and our phone systems are down. It's kind of a crazy morning.
Please tell me it's not the cyber warfare from Iran.
And it's about 30 degrees for this time of year. It's going to go up to mid-40s today. We're happy with that.
All right. Dave, I understand also that I mentioned earlier it's your wife's birthday. Please tell her that Zeb and Deanne said happy birthday. And I know that you're going to take her out for a evening of food and dancing. Is that correct?
Well, I think we'll do food. I don't know about the dancing. I don't think anybody would want to see us dance.
All right. Listen, my dear friend, God bless you, and thank you for your comments this morning. I wish things were better for you, but tomorrow will be a brighter day. Thank you, Dave Bego in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Well, thank you, and have a great week.
God bless you, man. Thanks. He tells it like it is, and I respect that, man. He's been a dear friend of mine for many, many years. Dave Bego back in Indiana. Very, very successful businessman, big company, and very astute when it comes to politics, and I appreciate him. I want to remind you, too, while I have just a break here, about our friends over at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Hello, Joel Heward, family and staff serving Magic Valley. And when there's the passing of a loved one, they are there always to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And another point of interest, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call them, find out more information. The number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wonderful people serving you. Oh, my goodness sakes. While I have just a moment, and it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of angel dandruff over the next couple of days, my goodness sakes, they're calling for snow, rain. Now, it's kind of interesting, looking out the north window of my studio, I see a big break in the clouds with a little bit of blue sky, something we probably won't see very much of the next couple of days. But the weather forecast, not good. It's calling for quite a bit of snow and rain, I believe. Hey, by the way, up in the high country, you know what that means? A lot of snow. And if you don't have your snowmobile and snow bike, you'd better check them out today at The Place for Fun. What is it? Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Boy, they're ready. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And believe me, with a showroom just chock full of goodies for you. Like I said, all the snowmobiles, all the snow bikes, all the accessories, everything. And they have the best doggone service department to keep you running right there at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. That's where the fun is sold. Absolutely. In that same neck of the woods, I want to acknowledge the fact that we're very blessed to have our dear friends on the program. They've been with us a long time. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, Todd and the rest of the folks, they really care. That's a four-letter word that absolutely is emblematic of their business. They really care. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call and find out more, make an appointment so they can serve you with your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. You be sure and get a hold of them today. A quick reminder that next Monday at 10:30 we start our legislative update right from Boise with Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood on the program. And it's going to be Mondays at 10:30, brought to you by Handy Truck Lines. They've been serving businesses in Idaho and the surrounding states for a long time. You can depend on Handy Truck Lines. They deliver, and they're going to be delivering the Idaho Legislative Update on Mondays at 10:30 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. I wish that I would have had the opportunity to meet this lady many years ago, or maybe her and I could have gone to high school together and she could have helped me in my economics classes and learn more about the stock market and everything, because she lays it out in simplified language and I really can understand what's going on. This is Krista Huff. Good morning, Krista. How are you?
Hi, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, I got to tell you, I read the article that you had called Separating Stock Market Facts from Malarkey, or I could have inserted the cowboy terminology, but I'm glad I didn't. But it was very interesting to me. You really can lay it out in a simplified fashion.
For whatever reason, I have the gift of teaching, so I can explain things to people and their light bulb goes on. So, yeah, I write a lot. I've probably written over 3,000 stock market articles this decade, and I have many years to go.
Krista, it can't be easy. It cannot be easy writing about the stock market and writing about all the terminologies and all the ins and the outs and the do's and the don'ts. How do you do that so the common person like myself can understand what's going on?
Deb, I don't know how I'm able to explain things so well to people, but the one thing that I don't do is I don't watch television, and I think, and people always sort of smirk when I say that, but truly we get so much misinformation from television, if I am not exposed to the misinformation, I can just look at the raw facts and decide what the truth is and how those raw facts usually contribute to stocks and economics, and then I just explain them to people. If you would like an example, I can talk to you about what might happen with inflation.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So I've been talking about this for at least 9 months. I've been telling people in 2020, we're going to see inflation rising. There are several reasons that that's going to happen. And rising inflation almost always causes the Federal Open Market Committee to raise the Fed fund rate, and then that trickles into the rest of the bond market, and interest rates go up. So I am anticipating rising interest rates through the rest of the year. And here are the two major reasons. We had all of the flooding followed by rains in the Midwest in 2019. It killed a tremendous amount of livestock and destroyed planting season, several planting seasons, really. So we have fewer livestock to produce, meat in the supermarkets. We have a lot less planting, so there's going to be a lot less grain available. And when things are harder to come by, their prices go up, right? Mm-hmm. So, to a certain extent, there might have been reserves of these, meats and grains and things in silos and refrigerators, but eventually we run out of that, and the rarity of the product starts being reflected in the prices. And we're seeing that happen right now with beef. You might have been talking about this on your show. It might be a popular topic. Beef prices have been going up tremendously in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the chart, it's quite an uptrend. Like, it looks like there's no stopping in sight right now for beef prices. And one of those reasons is in China. They have African swine fever that has killed over 300 million hogs in China. Wow. And keeping in mind that pork is their main protein staple, they're sort of scrambling to replace that. So they purchased, $7.3 billion worth of beef here in the U.S. through November, including $1 billion in November alone. That was a record month. So China is scrambling to replace the protein source that they've lost from all their hogs dying. And they also removed their tariffs on chicken so that they can start buying a whole bunch of U.S. chicken. So we're going to see these meat prices continue to rise. So I'm expecting food inflation to be dramatic this year and to contribute to rising interest rates.
Krista, I'm going to probably run off the rails a little bit on some of my questions because they might not be rifling, they might be shotgunned in their approach. But when you talk about the beef industry, and it's a huge industry, and I am involved in it and have been involved in it all my life, along with the horse industry, and ranchers and farmers in general are absolutely susceptible to whatever the ways and means of the markets are and the controls of the markets. I would love to see where farmers and ranchers could have a lot more control over the production and all the pitfalls that they have to suffer to go through to get that product to market, but it doesn't seem like it's ever going to change.
Mm-hmm. And I am definitely not an expert in that area. I know that some of the very large corporations really control the meat and grain markets and such, so I don't have answers for you. I'm hoping that the rise in beef prices helps the farmers. It won't necessarily help the consumers, but every time a price goes up or down, there's one group of people that benefits and one group that is harmed, and that's just the nature of the economy.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this question for the layperson out there listening, and they say, well, gee, I've got a few stocks with AT&T, or I've got a few stocks that my mother and dad willed me with General Electric or whatever. What do you tell people about the stock market, about if they want to invest their money and if they want to really kind of troubleshoot a little bit and try to buy some good stocks? How does a person get started with any knowledge at all? What do you do?
It's so much harder now than it was decades ago. Decades ago, you could go to your financial advisor. It didn't cost you an arm and a leg, and they were very educated, so they could educate their customers about how stocks work, how bonds work, etc. And over the years, as everything has become like this do-it-yourself economy, where we pay people less and less for their professional expertise, it's driven consumers away from financial advisors, so they're not getting educated from their financial advisors anymore. And I used to be one of those people, and I sat down with charts and graphs and taught people all kinds of things about the yield curve and such. So now they either have to get books and go to websites and teach it to themselves, or if they're lucky, they have a grandfather who knew all this in the old days when financial professionals were expected to know how to manage stock and bond portfolios, and so they had so much more expertise than they do now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe that's a little nasty for me to say, but if a financial advisor is under, let's say, the age of 45, they do not know how to manage a stock and bond portfolio. And so what they're taught to do mutual funds and annuities and stuff. And so when the customer comes to them and says, hey, what about GE stock? What about Netflix stock? Because the financial professional does not know how to manage stock portfolios, they disparage the idea of somebody managing their own stocks because they don't want to let on that they don't know how to do it. And this is the truth. So if I were a person who wanted to learn about stocks and bonds, I would just start reading books and websites, try to find someone who's famous for having a sensible approach and a consistent track record, and then, start paying attention to their approach and seeing if it works for you, because there are so many different approaches even. I've got an approach down pat that I've been dealing with for a very long time, and it works. And so, I'm happy with my approach, but I'm always open to tweaking it and making it better.
I guess where I'm coming from is that I really got my front yard clean back in the 9/11 days when the stock market, and a lot of us lost a bunch of money after the stock market literally crashed and burned, and will probably never recoup the amount of money that was actually in there. However, that being said, ever since Donald Trump took over as president, we have seen a skyrocket, a moonshot of higher every day on the stock market. Is this to be short-lived, or is this something that, with Trump as president and his economic policies, should continue?
I'm expecting it to continue for the time being, and there will always be stock market corrections, keeping in mind that a correction is different from a crash. Even in the fourth quarter of 2018, which was just 15 months ago, the stock market went down 20% during that quarter. 20% is massive. And then it took half of 2019 to recoup. And so I know when you look at news headlines about how did the S&P 500 do in 2019, they make it seem like the S&P went up 30% or so, but 20% of that was just recouping what it fell the price at the end of 2018. So once it recouped and got back to that level, then it went up another 10% at the end of the year. I'm a person who follows technical analysis, which means that I look at price charts, and the charts speak to me because the charts essentially exhibit human behavior, and human behavior is generally predictable, and so the patterns on the price charts reflect repetitive human behaviors, and so if you're a person who can read price charts, you actually are very calm about the markets because you know what they're about to do. And I will tell you that I expect the S&P 500 to continue rising this year, and I will always put money aside waiting for a pullback, and then when the pullback comes and all the news media is like, oh no, the stock market's falling, that's when I buy. So I enjoy pullbacks because I have confidence the market will then recover within 1 to 3 months.
Let me say this, and Krista, please jump in and correct me if you think I'm wrong. I got big shoulders, I can take it. But I feel very strong, and I feel very good about what this president has done, and the economy seems to be wrapped around him like a cloak, and I have a lot of faith in what he's doing. Conversely, conversely, in 2020, I'm very afraid of the Democrats, all of them, whether it's Biden, whether it's Warren, whether it's Bernie, whatever. I'm very afraid that if any one of them got elected as president with their very far left social values, I think we're in for a tank. Am I wrong?
If one of those far left Democrats became president, I think that their policies are pretty much insane. I think not only would the stock market tank, but the entire economy. I think we'd finally have people in breadlines, like ourselves. Like, that's how bad I think it would get, because their policies are so over the top, and I wouldn't be surprised if they started rounding people up and putting them in camps. They are so far left. We've never seen this in our lifetime. There's so much that's parallel to some of the horrific stories we hear coming out of places like China and communist regimes. And I know that sounds really extreme, but I study this stuff. I've worked in politics. I've worked in finance. I have been the person trying to support 3 teenagers. I understand how all this works, and I read the stories that continue to come out of China. You know, they have well over 1 million people who are in these slave camps simply because they are Muslims. I think it's called Uyghur Muslims. I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
But then other people of religions, basically they want people to worship the premier in China, not a particular god from a particular religion. And I could see that kind of power-hungry person getting in charge in the U.S. and implementing policies that harm us that greatly.
Well, okay, again,
I don't think it's going to happen. In 2020, it's absolutely Trump.
I agree with you, and I'm praying that both of us are correct. I would say this. When I listen to the likes of Elizabeth Warren, and I listen to the complete incompetency and idiocy of a freshman representative, and that's AOC, and then you listen to Bernie Sanders with his communistic viewpoints and socialism, etc., and, well, we're going to spend not billions, but trillions and trillions for health care, and trillions and trillions upon trillions for a green energy program. Those trillions don't grow on trees. And to say that the taxes wouldn't raise, holy smokes, how gullible is the American public?
You know, when the folks who invented Common Core education started with math, they were brilliant in starting with math. Because, okay, so I'm a math person. I'm one of those people who gets like 99 percentile on math standardized tests, right? So I understand how math should be taught. And when I saw my kids going through the public schools and I saw their math curriculum, I was horrified. And I said to myself, there's no way that somebody actually thought this was a better way to teach math. And that's when I realized that they came up with this convoluted way to teach math on purpose so that kids actually would not effectively learn math. And that is exactly what's happened. If you want to control the population, one of the first things you do is you make it so that they don't understand math, so that when you take over taxation and economic numbers plummet, people who don't understand math don't pay attention to those statistics when they cross, you know, the news media. So they just zone out because they don't get it on math. So people my age understand math. We understand if the economy is good or bad, et cetera, and which numbers to pay attention to. But if you're 20 years younger than me, 40 years younger than me, and you got raised by Common Core math, I promise you, they're changing the channel when the economic statistics come on because they don't understand them. So, you know, a lot of great harm has been done to our country. I'm glad our president is turning it around, you know, whether he's helping gay people, black people, lower income people, coal miners. He even invited the Amish to the White House recently, and I read, you know, the news clip, and this Amish guy, I think his name was Levi Miller, and he was saying how nobody from his community has ever been invited to the White House. And I had tears in my eyes. I was like, I understand that people think that this president is a blowhard. And you know what? maybe he's not my favorite personality in the world, but I don't pay attention to people's personalities. I pay attention to what they actually accomplish.
Yes.
And I could sit here and list 100 things that our president has done that are eye-popping, things that help every sector of the population. And I'm very proud of them. I never in my lifetime thought we'd have a businessman in the White House. I'm thrilled that we have one because he understands how things work and how to make things better.
You know, Krista, let me add something as an addendum to what you just said. As being a businessman, a very astute businessman and real estate mogul, this man knows the value of a dollar bill. And that is something I think has been lacking in the White House for quite some time. And when you listen to, like I said, the likes of the Democratic Party, whether it's Biden all the way to Warren and everything, they just throw these figures around of trillions and trillions of dollars, not knowing any clue as to where that money could possibly come from. And you talk about instability. I can't imagine one of those people in the White House and the fears that would tremor through the stock market and, for that matter, all stock markets around the world.
Yeah, they're so ridiculous with money, and even like when Obama gave over $1 billion to Iran, our biggest enemy in the entire world, that vocally tells us over and over again that they want to kill us, death to America, right? He gives them over $1 billion. Well, part of that billion came from my tax dollars when I had 3 teenagers, and I was occasionally getting food at food banks. But my tax dollars were paying for that. Can Americans please keep our money in our country first, and second, the cost of education. I'm paying for 2 teenagers in college right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is outrageous, and yet the Democrats, because of my gross income, they're like, oh, she's well off. Let's take another 10% from her in taxes as soon as we get in power. And my answer is no. All I do with every dime that comes in is like, okay, after I pay the next tuition payment, how much do I have left over? Can I go to the dentist? And this is how Americans are living, because we're getting, all right, I can't even use the word I want to use. I can't use the next word I want to use. We are getting taken to the cleaners with taxes. And so when somebody comes along and they want to take more of my taxes, the answer is hell no, and I'm going to fight you as hard as I can.
There you go. You're my kind of lady. I love that. Listen, we've got a caller with a question or comment, and then I've got to wrap things up on this segment. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air, real fast.
Yes, I would get her opinion on Elon Musk doing his dance in China yesterday morning. What happens if China decides, or the leaders of China decide to nationalize all American industry over there and tell him and his other chairmen to leave the country? Is it possible?
That's a very good question.
The thing is, in China, they can do whatever they want, and we don't have much recourse. For example, they've never stuck to any of their trade deals in the past, and so we already know that they have a track record of whimsically doing what they want. And it's a country that's based on the power of the premier. It's not, the power isn't spread out amongst the people. So I don't personally buy Chinese stocks, and I'm even, frankly, a bit uncomfortable when I'm investing in a company that does a tremendous amount of business in China, because I'm so aware that they could change their policies on a dime. I'm more of a conservative investor, but the other reason I wouldn't invest in Tesla is because they've really never had any history of making a profit except for maybe one recent quarter, and I don't invest in companies that lose money. I invest in companies that have a consistent history of growing their profits every year, because if profits aren't growing, I have no reasonable expectation that a stock price will grow. Right? I'm recommending stocks to thousands of people who subscribe to my newsletter. Why would I say, hey, buy shares of this company that's losing money? It doesn't make sense. So, I'm with you. China makes me uncomfortable, and so do losses.
Let me ask you very quickly, Krista. Give us a little background on how people can find out more about what you do, and Cabot Undervalued Stocks Advisor, where they can get more information. Please tell us.
Sure, they can go to CabotWealth.com. That's wealth like WEALTH. And there's an excellent small customer service group that they can email, they can phone, and they can use the chat box. They can ask all kinds of questions. These are very intelligent, long-time employees who know the answers to most of your questions. And then they can email me at Krista@CabotWealth.com. Krista is Crista.
All I want to say is one thing, my dear lady. I hope that you'll consent to coming back on the program. I love having you here, and I want to ask you more questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless. Krista Huff, and I'm going to keep her name on my old ancient Rolodex and make sure that I get her called back to come back on the program again. Very, very sharp. Oh, my goodness, Wheels said, Zeb, have you looked at the clock lately? I'm late. Got to run to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they're providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They're good. They're really good. Tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this for you, your family, and your business. I urge you to get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert, the very best, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like some snow is in the forecast as we make our way through the rest of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Slight chance of snow off and on throughout today. Mostly cloudy skies. It is going to be breezy as well. Expecting a high of 26 for tonight. 70% chance of snow likely. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. Wind is still going to be a consistent gust as high as 21 miles an hour. And we are expecting a low of about 31. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow in the morning. Mostly cloudy by the afternoon. High of 33. And then as we make our way towards Friday, partly sunny, high of 28, and Saturday, 60% chance of snow showers, accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible, expecting a high of 34. So that's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Oh, Gina, thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by our friends at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, offices in Burley and Rupert, and they really, really are committed to serving you. Work with the best. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Real quick, too, I want to remind you about our dear friends at Dino Septic Service. You don't want to be out there pumping a septic tank. No, but they do. All you need to do is call Dino Septic Service. They're there to serve you. Absolutely, with fast, fair, friendly service. Call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638. I mean, whether it's septic tank pumping or whether it's sewer and sink drain line cleaning or backhoe services or liquid waste removal, septic inspections, all of this and so much more in their service to you. Dino's Septic Service, with a big truck that says smells cargo on the way. You call them today. Dino's Septic Service. We have got outstanding hour coming up. We've got Ryan Dobson next hour, and he is the son of James Dobson. I'm sure you've heard of Dr. James Dobson and the great programs that he's had on the radio. Well, we're going to be talking about a home safe program with Ryan Dobson, and then at 10:30 we're going to have a gentleman here in the studio that is your neighbor, my neighbor, everybody's neighbor here in the Magic Valley. Don Pickett is going to be talking about his new book that just came out. It's called Lessons of Nature from a Modern Day Shepherd, and I'm looking forward to having him come on the program this morning and talk about it. Right now, I'm going to send this back over to Wheels, and we're going to listen to the gobbledygook from the CBS News, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning, and really, for the forecast they gave us, it doesn't look as bad as what they had said. I still see some blue sky out there. Morning, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you, of course, by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get you through whatever the weather throws at you. And including also some other great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue in Burley. Suite number 2, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. And I urge you, I really do urge you to stop by and take a look at the facilities. Call them first for an appointment, Matt and Kelly Wiggins at 650-4979. We went over there about a month ago, and they invited us to, along with our Zeb's Lunch Bunch, take a tour, and it is a beautiful facility. 12-bedroom home for seniors, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, housekeeping, local transportation. Oh, seniors, you better check this out. Call Matt or Kelly today at 650-4979. Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Also, a real quick note about our friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff and the crew. They're having a great big, that means really big, January clearance sale. 50% off certain recliners and mattresses, and you've got to go in and try those recliners on. I mean, they've got recliners for tall people, short people, and thin people, and people like me. So you be sure and go in and check it out today. January clearance sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And don't forget, too, they've got an excellent low price on their floor coverings right now at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today.
Sir?
Yes.
I was just going to ask you real quick. You wouldn't have a backup for our guest at 10:06, would you?
I do not. Is that the guest? Check that out and let me know, would you please?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. We're expecting to be talking to Ryan Dobson momentarily, and maybe that is him calling in on that other line, and we'll check with Wheels. Is that him, Wheels? And he's probably...
He hasn't called in yet, sir.
All right, the only number I have is the number that you were given, and I believe that's the 719 number. That's all I have, and if you'll keep trying that, I would certainly appreciate it.
Will do.
All right, thank you. I really, really hope we can get him on the air this morning, Ryan Dobson. He's got a program called Home Safe Training Program, and I was looking forward to having him on the air this morning. Until that time, I would appreciate it if you'd give me a call, and we'll talk about anything and everything that's going on in the world. My lovely bride took some notes while our President Trump was on television talking about this Iranian crisis with the missiles, and he reiterated that Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, and I think that goes without saying. That'd be like giving the bully on the schoolyard playground a baseball bat, and so we certainly don't want that to happen. And made the statement that he thought Iran is standing down. Deanne, if you could do a little checking for me on that, I would certainly appreciate it. That's the only number that I have for that gentleman. And it looks like, unless somebody out there in Radio Land has been hearing or seeing something that I'm not aware of while I'm on the air, it looks like we may be in a stand-down situation currently, and I do know that the sanctions are going to be in effect, and possibly even additional economic sanctions will be imposed on Iran. And if there's any changes, believe me, I think the president made it very, very firm and said, we will not allow any more action that would be a detriment to the United States, our allies, or our citizens. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Any luck, Wheels, with that telephone number that we gave you?
I haven't. I'm still trying to...
Repeat it back to me quickly to make sure that you copied it down right, would you please?
Yes, sir. So it's 719-639-1717.
You got her, Buckwheat. You betcha. That's it. We'll just hopefully you can keep trying, please, because I really need to get him on the program. So we were very interested in talking to him about the church-based Home Safe Training Program, and he was going to be talking about what happened down in Texas with that church shooting and the aftermath, and it kind of dovetails and correlates into what we were talking talking about yesterday. So hopefully Wheels can get that man on the air. Quick reminder that there are a lot of things that are going to be cropping up at the State House for this month of January, February, and possibly into March with the Idaho Legislative Update. And all of our legislators are back in service, and they're up there in Boise, and we're going to have the Idaho Legislative Update every Monday right here with an update on my program at 10:30, brought to you by Handy Truck Lines, serving businesses in Idaho and the surrounding states, and you can depend on Handy Truck Lines because they deliver. And we thank Clay and the rest of the folks. That's going to be at 10:30 on Mondays. With that legislative update with Representative Fred Wood, Senator Kelly Anthon, and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke. I know it's going to be kind of a real sticky wicket at times, trying to get them out of their various meetings or the various consultations that they're involved in with the governor and everything, but we're going to do our best to get one of the three every week on that program, the Idaho Legislative Update. Calls are welcome. Give me a jingle right now if you just want to visit about the weather or anything, because I absolutely didn't have anything else planned for this half hour other than talking to Ryan Dobson. So give us a jingle, please, if you would. I did have one other public service announcement that I did not get on the air earlier this morning that I feel compelled to mention, and that is the free Soil Health Workshop and Lunch sponsored by the Soil and Water Conservation Districts in the Mini-Cassia area will be held on Wednesday, February the 6th in Burley. Okay, registration will be available at their website, minicassiawcd.com. There you go, or call 572-3369. Deanna, did you find anything? We're still trying to find out what happened to our guest. So, again, it goes back to you folks. Give me a jingle on the landline, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about for the remainder of this 30-minute segment. The missiles that hit Iran were off course, thankfully. Whether that was on purpose or whether the Iranians are just very poor shots, I don't know. But let's just say that according to what I've heard from Deanne giving me these notes, that the United States is going to maintain an upper hand, but they are going to be watching very closely Iran for any future movements of anything that might endanger any of our U.S. troops or our allies. And as I stated a moment ago, the United States is going to impose additional economic sanctions on Iran, and the sanctions will remain until Iran changes its total behavior program. You got to treat them like a bunch of little kids that are causing all kinds of problems. And Iran must abandon all of its nuclear ambitions. And that's not an asking, that's a telling from our State Department and the President of the United States. Good. Time to get tough with the bully. Again, give me a jingle. First person that calls. Yeah, I'm going to really open this thing up this time until we're waiting for Ryan Dobson. First person that calls, I'll buy lunch at Denny's at the next lunch bunch. Boy, the phone lines are going to get lit up right now. So give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm feeling big-hearted today. I'll buy lunch to the next person that calls in. And that's, of course, to Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Give us a jingle on the landline. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to be bringing in one of the foremost authorities on international relationships, and that's our good friend from Florida, Dan Perkins, is going to be coming on the program at 10:30 tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that, along with our visit with Penny Main at the Chamber of Commerce and others on our Thursday programming. Good morning, caller. You have just won yourself a free lunch.
Well, thank you so very much, Zeb, and just I appreciate it very much. Your wholehearted, just your warmth. Thank you very much.
And who am I speaking to so I know who to buy for?
Barbara.
Oh, well, Barbara, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you so much.
What can I do for you this morning?
Just nothing. I just wanted to talk and say hello, and it's good to have you back home in our area and do what you do for our community and speak with our people, and we all love you and Deanna very much, and I just want to say thank you.
Well, that really means a lot. You know, I noticed something over the Christmas and New Year's holidays of all the cards and the well wishes and the telephone calls and everything. I really feel blessed and honored to have this program. I know that I get on the air and there's many subjects that might make people a little bit mad to talk about and discuss, but they have to be mentioned, and people, I think, need to get involved and do something. How would you respond to that?
That is 100% right, maybe 200% right, and I would agree wholeheartedly with that also, for the fact that I'm a very patient person, and things that you say people don't like, oh well, they'll get over it. If not, they'll get, stay mad in their same britches they were mad before. But a lot of it is meant to be said, and you do a wonderful job, and I very seldom do I disagree with you, ever. I think you're just right on top of the whole thing.
Well, and a lot of people think I only put people on this program that I want to agree with me, and that's not the case. I look forward to people that have dissenting opinions and maybe other viewpoints, and it's really funny you should say that. I've been asking for almost 2 or 3 years now that I would love to have some of the Democrats in the area from a different platform and a different philosophy of thought call in on this program and explain where they're coming from and why, and they won't touch the telephone to call me with a 10-foot pole.
Well, maybe they're wondering what century and what country and what day, time zone, et cetera, and maybe they don't know what to do because they're lost. They don't know how to answer it.
Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your comments, and thank you, and have a blessed new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.
All right. God bless. Thank you. Very nice lady right there. Thank you very much for those kind comments. I'll take some more calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I had a call on my cell phone yesterday regarding 7K metals, and people said, what is this you're talking about, 7K metals? Well, you literally can build your own financial security and future through silver purchases from 7K metals. Now, you can create, like I said, your own security bank through the silver purchases. They come right to your home. Absolutely. It's a very valued saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. So check it out. I mean, Deanne and I are heavily involved in it. 7K metals, and the people you need to call and find out more are Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. 7K metals, and be sure and tell them that I told you to call, because they'll treat you right and really give you more information about silver purchases and your financial future. Give them a call today. All right. Again, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. With all of this that's been going on in the world over the last 24 to 48 hours, I wonder what has been said or what is being said in our educational systems. I wonder what the teachers are telling the youth, whether they're in grade school or whether they're in high school or university professors. I wonder what kind of defamation they are giving the children and the students about our president and this country. That really bothers me, because I know that not necessarily prevalent in this area, but in other areas. It was brought up the other day, yesterday I believe, I heard a news story about how many of the teachers are going into the classrooms and scaring the kids to death. We're all going to be suffering from World War III. And Iran and the United States are going to war. You know, there wasn't anything as far as explanation. They were just trying to create a fear-mongering process with these kids, and that's the wrong thing to do. I think there should be a complete analytical display of understanding what really is happening. What were the causes and effects of what's happening to bring us to this point today? Why terrorism is so widespread? Who is promoting and funding terrorism? Iran and other countries of that ilk. And what's happening with ISIS? What's happening with the spread of radical Muslim hatred around the world, and why we should be so concerned? Don't just walk into a classroom and denounce our president, run him down, run this administration down. Oh, Trump's got us into war. Well, that's not the case. And it's not at all explanatory or educational to give that kind of a statement. Your thoughts are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, if you remember the 2012 election, Obama talked a lot. His ads were about how he had taken out bin Laden. And this guy has been doing this, terrorizing American soldiers and other Middle East, Israel and other Middle East countries that are somewhat Saudi Arabia, whoever, since 79.
Yep.
Or before. I mean, this guy's been raising hell with us since 1979. And, we've been tolerating this. There's been kind of a, don't tell, don't ask. We won't attack you as long as we'll let you go out and do your, a certain amount of terrorism. I mean, what the hell kind of a deal is that?
Well, okay, Randy, you kind of hit my hot button on this. When somebody is being bullied, or somebody is being threatened, or somebody is being intimidated, what do? Do you go into your pocket and dig out your lunch money and say, oh, please don't hurt me. Here, take my lunch money. I'll starve. You go ahead and have it. That's exactly what's been going on with the appeasement factor that was really perpetrated by the Obama administration by handing the Iranians pallets of cash unloaded in the dead of night from a private jet over in Iran. Why do we have to appease somebody like this?
Well, when you want to promote their cause, because we all believe that Obama was a closet Muslim, and so, I know he was sympathetic. I know he felt more for Iranian mullahs than he did for the American people. I mean, there's no way he loves America. He just takes advantage of us.
The thing I'm worried about is this administration being condemned and chastised, and the name-calling of our president, calling him an assassin, the denigration of this president, what's going on in our school system, professors and school teachers going way down to the elementary years are going in and basically condemning this president and saying all kinds of bad things about him. I've never seen America as much of a split as what it is today. It's very scary.
We do not know where this will end up. And see, there's days when you wake up and when you know what you need to know, you can at least deal with it.
Yeah.
It's when you don't know what is coming, the anxiety can be extremely high because we don't know where we're going to end up as a people because of propaganda, misinformation that has been taught to our kids.
At one point,
parenting is suffering terribly.
Well, one thing that was made a few moments ago when I had Krista Huff on the program, I don't know if you heard her or not. She's an outstanding stock market analyst. And I asked her the question about any of the Democrats, regardless of whether it's Warren or Biden or Sanders, whomever. And she just absolutely spoke out and said, my goodness, we cannot let them be in the Oval Office, not only with the stock market, but the money system in general. And the attitude that America could just absolutely fall off a cliff financially, she is very concerned.
Well, I tell you what, they're so desperate to make the president look bad that they have to, because his success means that they're a failure. And, Trump has done more in 3.5, well, however long it's been, than I would say that Reagan had done. And so, what he has done, to call him a bumbling, like Schumer said this morning, I tell you what, it's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
What the criticisms they lay on him.
Well, we're going to have to watch and see what goes on over the immediate future and then beyond that, because I will say this, and I think you'll agree with me, that the bully has been slapped in the face once, and if they act up again, you've got to come back with more than just a slap.
Well, just yesterday's fireworks display, and that's about all it amounted to. It was a weak response by a people that the government is falling apart, and we need to end it somehow. I don't know how else. Regime change is not in the works, but I don't know where we end up with Iran, but at least we get them under control.
Absolutely. Randy, I always appreciate your calls and your comments. You made an excellent comment when Dave Vigo was on the line this morning, and I appreciate that. I've got to run right now, but please don't hesitate to give us a jingle. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest for the next hour is here. I don't have to worry about him. He showed up just about 5-10 minutes ago. And that's Mr. Don Pickett is going to be on the air talking about his new book, Lessons of Nature from a Modern-Day Shepherd. I'm anxious to find out a lot more about it. Holy smokes, he's not a short little guy either. He just barely cleared the doorstop at the top. Don, have a chair over there. And we're going to send it back over to Wheels for our main studio right now. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you, and welcome back. Very interesting half hour coming up, and I'm going to get right to it right after I tell everybody to be sure and shop at Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena want to tell you that right now they've got brand new car audio systems on the way. I mean, they're en route. So you better stop in and check out all the great electronic needs, home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, all your television sets. All of this at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. And don't forget, they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's in Burley, really nice people. The number to call, 678-6997. There is so much talent in this Magic Valley, and whether it's musical or whether it's sports or whether it's someone writing a book, and we have one of the latter, and this gentleman is a fourth-generation sheep rancher, a lawyer. What else should I say about you, Don? Help me a little bit on some of your biography. Don Pickett, good morning to you, sir.
Well, I have a lot of biography in my family. We settled the Oakley Valley in 1882, and I have grown up with traditions and with a group of people that have enabled me to really appreciate this valley, to understand a lot of different locations and people that have helped me throughout my life. And I thought maybe it was time to contribute a little bit about what I've learned. And I've found it to be a very interesting process to write this book and now to get it marketed to various places around the world.
Absolutely. I need you to move a lot closer to that. You can move that closer to you if you want to. There you go. Don, I'm going to start with some real basic questions. Number one, what light went off in the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, or whatever that said all of a sudden I'm going to write this book? I mean, what triggered this?
Well, I practiced law for quite a few years. And at the same time, I'm a rancher first, a lawyer second. Mm-hmm. I gave up practicing publicly. I got a little tired of burning midnight oil, and so I was a little bit bored. I ended up writing a poem just for something to do one evening. I tailored a little bit. I decided that I'd register a copyright, which I did. That poem, a few days later, got picked up by a publisher who called me from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and asked if I would write 15 more and put it in a book.
Wow.
So I ended up initially writing a short book with 15 poems in it that were various lessons of nature that I have learned working with my herdsmen throughout the years. And then I had a few book reviews from several big organizations in the country, Kyricus, the U.S. Book of Reviews, Blue Ink, several of those, one or two others. And those reviews came back and said that my book would be more interesting if it also contained prose. And so I turned those 15 poems into chapters and wrote several pages of prose underneath each of those poems. Mm-hmm. Then I had other publishers call, and right now I have a publisher out of New York City named Book Art Press, who is also an endorser to the big traditional publishers. And right now that's where I have my view, is I have several traditional publishers, well-known names. I won't repeat them here, but they're interested in purchasing the copyright and distributing the book throughout the world.
You know, I got to ask you this, because I told you in our initial phone conversation that I'm in the process of writing short stories of my life, and I feel like I've got quite a few different stories that I think might help other people go through some of the things I've gone through. And when you sit down and you say to yourself, when you have that legal pad in front of you and that pen in your hand, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake, no problem. But then when you start, all of a sudden the walls close in on you, don't they?
They do, and I can say, from at least from my personal experience, that it takes time to write a manuscript, to then edit your own manuscript. And if you're using the work of another, you have to be careful not to attribute that person's work as your own. And to avoid copyright infringement, it takes a lot of effort to get permissions, to then locate a publisher to actually put it in book form. That's frankly quite easy to do. There are hundreds of self-publishers around the country, and it costs probably a couple of $1,000s to get that all re-edited by a professional and prepared for you, but then's when the work really starts.
Okay, now let me ask you this. This book, Lessons of Nature from a Modern-Day Shepherd, is this basically a composite of possibly the Pickett family and the evolvement from the early days in the Oakley Valley and the animals you've worked with and everything? Is that kind of a composite of your life and previous relatives?
Yes, but I would make it a little more broad than that. Down through the years, I have hired men from many different countries of the world. It's hard to find a good local sheep herder and keep them out of the bars, to be honest with you. And so I've reached out. We have herders who have come mostly now from Peru, from Bolivia, from Chile, from Spain, from Greece, from a number of different countries. And these young men come here under the federal government's H-2A work visa program, three-year contracts. And I've rubbed shoulders with these men for some 35 years now. I've learned from them. and they have learned from me lessons of nature which are not taught in the universities of the world. Nature is their schoolmaster, not a professor. And I think there's a problem in our country when kids are raised in the artificial man-made world and don't have adequate access to really knowing what it's like to live alone in nature and learn nature's lessons, which our Creator has there ready for us to receive if we're receptive. And I thought that this would be a good basis for writing this book.
You know, what you just said, it opens up a lot of field of different questions, and I'm going to hold this object up to you, and it's a smartphone. And I'm going to just emphatically say that that smartphone in and of itself has been one of the most derogatory things that's ever been introduced to mankind, and especially our kids. Would you be opposed to that statement?
They obviously serve a great benefit if they're used correctly, but if they're overused and used incorrectly, they can be a great disadvantage.
Well, they've taken the kids away, in my opinion, and please tell me if you don't agree, from, like you said, not only nature, but being involved in kind of a hit or miss, learning by your trial and error and learning from your own mistakes type lifestyle. Is that wrong?
No, I entirely agree with you. I think that nature has a lot of lessons that we overlook. We know them deep down inside, but we rarely take time to really think about it and make it a part of our lives and how we think, and especially how we act.
You made a paragraph in this book that I really highlighted, and I put it in great big yellow highlighter form, and I'm going to read that if you don't mind. Our Creator allows adversity because He knows that the most refined people are those who have experienced loneliness, defeat, suffering, and misery, and who have found their way out of the depths of despair. Having successfully overcome these trials, these are the people who are sensitive to others who struggle, who are filled with compassion, kindness, and love. These qualities are not freely bestowed, but are a product of the experiences of mortal life. Kind of sums up exactly what we're just talking about, isn't it?
It does. Strength, whether physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, is a child of struggle.
Right.
And if we're not willing to really commit ourselves to enduring struggle and overcoming it, we fail to fill the measure of our creation.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you again to move a little closer to that. But Don, this book, who is it aimed at, really? What part of our society do you think this book is aimed at the most?
I decided to dedicate this book to the youth in our country. I am not an intellectual, and I wanted to write
You're the
this
first
book.
attorney that's ever said that.
Well, I guess attorneys have been known to lie, but I'm not lying in this case.
I appreciate your candid remark. Thank you.
Anyway, I wanted to dedicate this book to the youth in America because that's where we sometimes, I think, get started off on the wrong foot, is during those teenage years. And then we leave home, then we sometimes will turn to the right or to the left, and that's when we can really get ourselves in trouble. And my message, I wanted to especially get into the hands of our youth.
Let me ask you this, Don. With our education system the way it is today, and I'm not in condemnation of any school locally or any teacher or anything, I'm just saying in general across the board, we're seeing a very leftist movement in education, and we're seeing a mechanized movement in education and away from the personal responses with people. Can we turn this thing around?
I don't know, to be honest with you. And the reason I say that is because if it can be turned around, it's going to have to be a long-term process. The way that our system is set up right now, I think that there's an incentive both financially and politically, to keep going in the direction that we are, unless there are some drastic changes made both on the national level and, frankly, right down on the local level now.
Absolutely. With the book coming out, tell me, what areas are you going to try to implement this book? As far as, are you going to try to get it into the schools as a preferred reading type thing, or how are you going to really get the point out in this book so that our young people can benefit from it?
Well, my emphasis right now is to sell the copyright to a traditional publisher. Just as recently as yesterday, I got a call from my publisher who has just finished a final endorsement of my book. And statistically, I'm told that only about 1 out of every 2,000 self-published books ever make it to a traditional publisher.
Wow.
But once you cross that threshold, and I'm getting close now. Last night, the pool from the traditional publisher is narrowed down from 91 books to 40. Out of that 40, they're going to select 25, and mine is now one of the 40. Once that happens, and I hope it does, and we'll see, then I really won't be involved in the marketing.
I see.
And that will be in the hands of the traditional publisher, and that publisher will market, of course, to whoever will take the book.
Got to ask you this question. 105 pages. It's not a big book.
No.
But it has a lot of merit, and it has a lot of very interesting things and different analogies in the book. But when you finished it, and you pushed the legal pad away and sat back in your chair and said, "Whew, it's over," about 24 hours later, did you say, "Oh, I forgot to put this in"?
Well, one of the benefits of using a self-publisher is that after some time, if you see a little tweak here or a little tweak there, it's not uncommon to republish with a second publisher, which is what I did. The first publisher I had did a good job, but I wasn't satisfied with the marketing effort. And I did see a few tweaks that I wanted to make, a few footnotes that I could clear up a little bit better. So I then republished and edited in a place or two at that time.
With your experiences as a sheep rancher, a fourth-generation sheep rancher, and being out in nature and really seeing things from the get-go, I mean, really God's creation at its best, you must have, when you sat down and designed the ideas and nature of this book, you must have thought, some sympathy for the people that grow up in the inner city of L.A., San Francisco, Chicago, and New York. They'll never appreciate what's in this book.
And that's too bad. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to write this book. I wanted to reach out to people like that and give them a taste of what I have tasted working with my men all of these years. There are some wonderful experiences to be had by living in nature as opposed to the artificial world that
Amen.
We've created.
Amen. Did you learn something from writing this book that you didn't know before you started?
Oh, we're always learning.
Absolutely.
And I'm hopeful that I will have years left to continue to learn much more.
Well, you're quite a bit younger than I am, aren't you?
You don't know, and I'm not going to tell you.
I like that. But really, when you were sitting there, it probably opened up a lot of doors when you had a chance to research the book and everything. Did you learn things about your family and Oakley Valley and the area of Magic Valley that you didn't know prior to starting this book?
Not so much about my family. I have, of course, known my family well long before I wrote this book. Not so much the valley. I had a good understanding of the history of our valley. But what I have learned is how nature's lessons teach us. Let me give you an example,
please,
if I could.
Please.
I think that the lessons of nature are learned on three basic levels. Nature has provided us with three levels of enlightenment. We start with the twinkling of a star, which can be compared to the lowest level of learning in the physical world. learning that we get through our 5 basic senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. The problem is that our physical senses are subject to deception, and they're limited at best. If we can advance above that lowest level of learning, which is based upon our physical senses, survival of the fittest, we then can progress to the next level, which can be compared to the glimmer of the moon in its various phases of reflection. That is the moral level of learning, which is not based on survival of the fittest and what we see of tyranny and all the injustices that we see throughout the world. This next level of learning, the moral level, teaches us the basic differences between right and wrong. Law can be divided into 2 broad concepts. We have, first of all, natural law, by which our Creator has endowed man with the right that cannot and should not be taken by any government. We then have physical, or aside from the physical, natural law, we have positive law, which is based on the government and the laws that are produced by the government. That can be dangerous if a government is set up and organized and created without deference to natural law. Moral laws base themselves on justice and fair dealing and self-restraint. The highest level, which is compared to the brilliance, the undeviating brilliance of the sun, is advanced then to the spiritual realm of learning and understanding. One can't learn those lessons of nature unless he progresses up through the moral level.
I agree.
And that's where real knowledge and enlightenment can be had.
Let me say this. I'm almost out of time, but I want to say this and get your response quickly. I've got about 2 minutes left. Wouldn't it be nice to take the leaders of the world, whether it's Kim Jong-un from North Korea or Putin or Xi from China or any of these leaders, including our own, and take them all out into the wilderness and really let them see life as it really is?
Absolutely. If they saw life as it really is, they would quickly understand the difference between what happens with corruption and what happens when people avoid corruption. Nature teaches some very vital lessons on that very issue.
This book is called Lessons of Nature. And now quickly, how can people get a copy of the book, Don?
Well, I have a website, authordonpickett.com. It's easy to get. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, it's easily accessible.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody about this book in days to come. It's Lessons of Nature from a Modern-Day Shepherd, written by Don Pickett. And thank you for coming by. You don't have to get up and leave real quick, because I've got to do a series of commercials and a weather forecast, and then I'll say goodbye. I want to remind everybody to be sure and eat. If you're hungry, I know the place to go, and that's Edith's Cafe. Wonderful place, and they're located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. They're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9. They've got specials every day, and they've got great sandwiches, fantastic dessert schedule. You better stop in and see these folks today. You can't go hungry. There's no way if you'll take the time and the effort to get over to Edith's Cafe. Once again, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. Number to call, 878-2248. That leads us right up to our weather forecast, and that's brought to you by Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. The best of meats for you, your family, and any occasion are available through Scarrows Meats over in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like some snow is in the forecast as we make our way through the rest of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Slight chance of snow off and on throughout today. Mostly cloudy skies. It is going to be breezy as well. Expecting a high of 26 for tonight. 70% chance of snow likely. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. Wind is still going to be a consistent gust as high as 21 miles an hour. And we are expecting a low of about 31. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow in the morning. Mostly cloudy by the afternoon. High of 33. And then as we make our way towards Friday, Partly sunny, high of 28, and Saturday, 60% chance of snow showers, accumulations of 1 to 2 inches possible, expecting a high of 34. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, the weather, a little bit snowy in the forecast, and we'll tell you more tomorrow on the program, see what it's like. Weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Remember, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. We're almost out of time, and again, I want to thank Mr. Don Pickett for coming by and talking to us about a book that really is of merit and worthy of your reading, Lessons of Nature from a Modern-Day Shepherd. I haven't finished my copy yet, but I'm going to, and then give you another analysis on the air. This man, really sharp, and I love the way he wrote this book. Want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get you through whatever the weather throws at you. They've got all the tread design, all the sizes, everything for you and your four-wheeled wonder. You be sure and stop in. Check out all the tire chains, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more from 7 locations that are committed for your safe driving. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pauline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run. We always wrap the program up by saying the way things were, the way things ought to be, and 4 words that we always say at the end of every program: in God we trust. We'll saddle the horse tomorrow morning at 8:06 and ride for 3 more hours on Thursday's edition of Zeb at the Ranch. Take care. Have a wonderful day.